Hello everyone, welcome back for match 1 of Elves. Hot takes with Kent Ketter. Let's see what we can do here. Pretty excited about this one. Alright, yes I would. Okay, we've got a pretty cheap elf into a turn 2 druid, so we're going to keep this one. The druid turn should be pretty busted because we'll go 4 company and then yeah. Okay. Opponent's on a small mulligan here. Obviously gonna help our case. I hope they're excited for the flood of this. So, for the most part, I think this deck is just going to try to take the role of similar to what like Absent and Company does, in that you're playing out a good portion of creatures, just trying to get ahead where you can. Okay, so it looks like we're dealing with Death Shadow, but at its core, it looks like a combo deck, but it's a mid-range deck with a combo finish. So this turn will let us do, yeah, we're just gonna run out the druid here. If he doesn't have if the opponent, if they don't have the removal spell, I think we're going to be in some pretty good shape. Okay, quick concession there. If we had gotten to play it out, it would have been 4 mana, company, probably just taken off from there. Actually, yeah. Okay, so Death Shadow, Zoo. Bring some Path to Exiles in. Let's bring some Kitchen Finks in. So I don't want to overboard too much for this deck. Okay. So I'm going to reach for my bullets first. I'm going to find the cards that just, definitely don't have a lot of text. And then I'm going to go for kind of some of my slower options. Okay. Okay, the rest of these seem pretty solid. Let me think through this real quick. So I absolutely want to cut Witness, Rexage, Ooze. There's just not enough creatures being tossed around, and bring in some Paths, some Finks, and an Essence Warden. The question is, what are my last 2 cards that I'm looking to cut? I don't really want to cut any of my cheaper creatures. Just chumping Death Shadow seems pretty powerful. I don't think I'm supposed to cut any Azuris, so we'll go with the most expensive card in the deck here. We're going to take out these 5. Let me size this up for you, folks. Apologies. There we go. We are going to take out these 5 here, just going with our silver bullets for some slightly better ones and Essence Wardens, cutting some cords for some Paths. Pretty simple sideboarding. I think it's important with combo decks like this, or just decks like this, to, when you're first playing it, don't board too much. It's really hard to make those decisions. I have... Sorry, a deck like a Collected Company deck has a critical mass of spells that it just has to hit if it wants to stay competitive. And you have to keep that in mind. I think the sweet number in Standard is like 23. 24 is, I think, safety. 23 is decent. So, this hand, not as fast as the last one. I do like this Spellskite, though, to keep our opponent honest on the pump combo, so we'll keep this. I have a feeling Elves has very few like this hand's terrible, let's just throw it back type situations, which is kind of nice. Okay. So we're gonna go Elf here. Okay, so I'm actually going to lead on the Elvish Mystic here. If our opponent has the removal spell, that's just fine. My thought is next turn I can go Heritage Druid, Elite, tap for 3, play Spellskite. Puts a decent amount of power on the board in a pretty short amount of time. would assume our opponent isn't going to interact very... Okay, so I mean, we're just miles ahead at this point. So we'll go Elf again. So the reason I want to cast the Druid first is if I was to lead on the Elite and our opponent had a removal spell, we would be pretty taxed to get the 3 taps off a Druid here. So my thought here is I want to play the Spellskite first to try to protect from any bolts or the like. I'm not too concerned about blocking. Our life total is basically, you know, infinite with our opponent's given draw. Good lead on their part. Tap one of these for green. So I'm going to run out the Azuri here. It's not quite lethal, but I think it's going to put us in a great position. So we have 4 mana anyway. We slice this, not one more. So I am going to take a chance at some chip here. Actually, if I hit 2 Elves... Yeah, I'm actually not going to take any chip. So the thought is if I hit 2 Elves, I can regenerate some other stuff that blocks. I have a feeling our opponent's just going to be more behind than they would like to be. So what I'm trying to set up here is a position where we're not... I don't want to pressure our opponent's life total necessarily. I guess the question is if they have... They have Clasm here, but I don't think they do. So we're just going to take our 1. Okay, so 6 cards in hand. If they have Trample... Let's see. So they have to get to an 8 before they can cast it, which would be... And this is the fun part about playing against Death Shadow. You get to do math without touching anything. So our opponent would have to have double growth. Yeah. Opponent would have to have double growth, and then we're going to block with Elf Warrior, I think. I don't think there's a huge punish for this. So block with Elf Warrior. See if there's any effects. If not, I think we're just going to let this pass. There's not any 2 mana punishes as far as an instant speed sweeper, so I want to wait until second main phase or in turn to pop off the Collected Company. Okay. So 3, 4. Oh. I think we're in good shape from here. I can't imagine our opponent's going to have too much to do that's going to really body us. Interesting. Yep. Sometimes the downside of playing against these Death Shadow decks online, or you know, just the various like hyperlinear decks, is there's a lot of thinking. Okay. So I can only regenerate 3 elves. Yeah. 4. Yep. So the other reason why I don't mind taking this sequence here is I have a collected company to kind of refill. Don't really understand that one. That was already gonna live. Okay. So I think from here I can feasibly attack. Our opponent would have to have... I'm going to attack with these two. Gives me 4 there and a chump. Yeah. Alright, so... Well, on the previous turn I wanted to try to make sure I wasn't going to put him too low. The chances of our opponent being able to go fetch, Death Shadow, haste, and pump is just not really something I'm that concerned about. I am going to wait for second main phase to do anything. Sure. So opponent's going to attack in. I think we're just going to chump here to play it safe. Nope. Company for the last card. If we put double Archdruid in play, is that just game? If we put Archdruid... So what's the safer sequence here if he has second bolt? Azuri gets Azuri popped. Yeah, it's Azuri Archdruid. Yep. Okay. So my last sequence, or the last thought there, was do I want to put double Archdruid in play? I think that's a reasonable sequence. If they have bolt for 1, block the other, still take lethal. But the thought there is if they have Azuri, they have to Azuri immediately, which sets up a similar situation, but pays me a little bit better off the top. If neither work, it's just a big old trample fest. Yeah, I think it's kind of a wash there. Well, anyway, match 1, aggressive creature deck loses to the explosive creature deck. Can't say I'm too surprised there, but that was kind of a fun one. I'm interested to come back for match 2 and see what happens if we play against maybe, you know, a control deck or something. But so far, the Elves are lording over the forest quite well. I think this will be a fun one to kind of jump into it from here. So, thanks for joining me for match 1. This was Kent Ketter with Hot Takes, bringing you a little elf action on Cardhoarder. I'll be back for match 2 in just a second. Thanks.